We're all good? Yeah? Okay. Welcome everyone to DC Talks at Durham College from the Rotary Global Classroom at the Center for Collaborative Education in Oshawa in Canada. And I am thrilled to be able to introduce to all of you in person, as well as all of you joining us in the Cosmos, which is all the online students and participants that we can see in little icons behind me, and as well as our guest, one of our several guests from Hawaii, who you will meet very shortly. Welcome to all of you to what I think is going to be a really elevating educational experience around how to become a innovative, creative, entrepreneurial thinker, not just in mindset, but in actually getting things done. And I think that's the big difference today. Our president, in a moment, Dr. Elaine Popp, is going to come and make the formal introductions, and then our wonderful deans here, Ariel and Christina, are going to carry on the conversation with the guests that we've invited, as well as from Hawaii. And then we're going to begin a conversation with students and others in person. For those of you watching online right now, you can see the nucleus right now, which is the people sitting on the couches. But behind them, there are many others who are coming in to the classroom and joining. So essentially what we have is a fluid, in-person, online, global educational experience in which nothing breaks down. It should look like good television. That's what we're building at the college, something sophisticated. So I think that without any more words from me, I would like to introduce our president, Dr. Elaine Popp. Do you want to come up, and I'll hand you the microphone, and she's going to say a few words, and then we're going to carry on.
Thank you very much, Lon, and thank you to the Durham College Alumni Association for inviting me to participate in today's event. The stars of the event being to my left and to my right, and in my case behind me for our online guests. But before we get too far into today, I would like to take a moment to get us started in a good way by sharing our college's land acknowledgement. So I want to express my gratitude and honor the Indigenous peoples who have lived and worked on this land historically and presently. I'd like to recognize and continue to respect the enduring presence, contributions, and resilience of Indigenous peoples. Being aware of the reality of our shared history, we must acknowledge that we all have a responsibility to contribute to reconciliation. And we do so by recognizing the past and working towards a shared future as friends and allies. Durham College is situated on the traditional lands of the First Peoples of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. These lands are covered under the Williams Treaties and rest within the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, which also includes Algonquin, Chippewa, Ottawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. We offer our gratitude to the Indigenous peoples who care for and through the treaty process share the lands on which we live, learn, teach, and prosper today. Miigwech. So I am thrilled to be here today to introduce the stars of today, our panelists, and of course, our proud DC alumni as well. So we have to my left, Brittany Charlton. Good morning. Paul Fritz. Morning, Paul. Behind me online joining is Zenon Isel. And then to my right, Nicole Moray and Shenandoah Nicholson. So as Lon mentioned, today's discussion is about celebrating entrepreneurial spirit that lives beyond the classroom. There is a lasting connection between education, business, and community, and we see that firsthand at Durham College every day. Students take the skills they've acquired here and pair them with their passions to solve a problem or fill a need. Beyond the classroom, we hope that our students and graduates leverage the supports and connections available to them to bring their bold ideas to life. And as our panelists today demonstrate, these bold ideas can turn into thriving ventures, enriching communities and providing opportunities for others. I'm sure you will find inspiration in their stories today. And while as a college student, your exact career path may seem unsure at this point, maybe some of you in the room right now will return to DC. You'll be sitting in a chair up here in the hot seats to share your story with the next generation of innovators. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our panel moderator for today, and that is Ariel Sully, who is our AVP or Associate Vice President of Advancement and Alumni Relations.
Thank you, Elaine, and good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see such a full room here today. So I am very excited. This is always one of my favorite events that I get to attend during the year to moderate today's panel. I'm here with Christina Talia, who's our Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Information Technology, as well as the Faculty of Media, Art, and Design. So thank you for joining us today, Christina. I'd also like to, before we begin, give a quick shout out to today's sponsor for supporting our event. ChlorVision is a creative agency that builds bold, iconic identities that drive visibility and growth. They take branding, content creation, and digital marketing off their clients' plates, giving businesses the time to focus on what they do best. I'd also like to note that ChlorVision is owned by another one of our proud DC alumni entrepreneurs and DCAA Board Director Pat Liver, who's passionate about supporting the entrepreneur ecosystem in Durham region. So thank you, Pat. In addition to the students in the room today, we have, I think, a record turnout for this event, both in person and online, but we've got many DC alumni and community members here with us today. So thank you to each and every one of you for joining us and participating in this important conversation about the challenges and the rewards of entrepreneurship and the whole journey that comes with that as well. As Elaine mentioned, there's a number of resources to support students and graduates beyond the classroom. And today, I'm actually really excited to share that we are launching our Alumni Entrepreneur Toolkit. So this is something we've been working on for what feels like quite some time now, based off of a need that we saw within our alumni community. So this toolkit is essentially a collection of resources that's designed for graduates to support their business growth, including hiring opportunities, exclusive partnerships, and savings on small business insurance. We have more information available here today in print, but also encourage you to check out durhamcollege.ca/entrepreneur toolkit. This project was made possible thanks to a number of teams, both on and off campus, including the Durham College Alumni Association, Angel Investors Durham, CI Ventures, DC's Office of Research Services, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and our partners at TD Insurance. We actually have two representatives from TD with us here today, Jenny Zhu and Laurice Hin, and representatives from Angel Investors Durham, Pat Liver and Elsie Faria. After today's panel, we have some time to mingle and network, so I encourage you all to stick around, say hi. If you have any questions about the toolkit itself, feel free to find one of the members of the DC alumni team, but really take that time to network with each other, with our panelists, and make the most of that time. So without further ado, I am going to, again, just introduce the panelists, and then we can go down the line one by one and have you each give a little intro to who you are and what you do. So we've got Brittany Charlton, a 2016 grad from the Law Clerk Advanced Program. We have Paul Fritz, who's a 2023 grad from Horticulture, Food and Farming. We have Zenon Issel, who's a 1998 grad from Mechanical Engineering Technology, who is joining us bright and early from Hawaii. I think it's 5:30 or something in the morning there, so I hope you have a big mug of coffee there with you. And thank you for getting up at the crack of dawn. Nicole Moret, who's a 2016 grad from Hospitality Management, Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism, and Shenandoah Nicholson, who's a 2013 grad from the Event Management Program. So without further ado, maybe we'll start with Shenandoah.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So yes, as you mentioned, I'm Shenandoah Nicholson, event management grad and current event planner. So I'm a corporate event planner and I work with businesses on events that have a business objective. And I'm still based in Oshawa. I live right around the corner. So excited to be here this morning.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Moraes. I am a 2016 graduate of the hospitality program here at Durham. Absolutely loved my experience here. And I'm also the owner of Crave Donuts. We have 2 locations, one in Whitby and one in Oshawa.
That right?
You
Thanks,
did.
yeah, good.
I'm a really passionate business owner, operator, and I wouldn't do it anywhere else than Durham region. So I'm really proud to be here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany Charlton. I'm the founder of Chocolate Labs. What we do is we're a B2B technology company focused on creating cocoa-free chocolate for bakeries, manufacturers, and distributors. And the company actually started out of my graduate program, which was the law clerk program, was O Foods. Scaled that to a 7-figure business with Walmart and Costco, and then ended up handing it over this year to another company to continue the journey.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paul Fritz. I'm a 2023 graduate of the Horticulture, Food, and Farming program. Came into the program after a approximately 20-year career in education software, and was looking for a change and a way to start my own business and become an entrepreneur. So here I am.
And over to Zenon.
Go ahead,
Hey,
Zenon.
good morning, everyone. Hey, my name is
Good morning.
Zenon Issel. As mentioned, I'm a 1998 grad of mechanical engineering and now live in Hawaii. And over the years, have started multiple businesses. Now own two businesses. One is Surfer, and another one is a mortgage company that I'm heading here in Hawaii.
Great, thank you. I just wanted, before we continue, I just wanted to mention something that is available to all. And I'm going to just, I'm not going to move the camera over there, but just be aware later that we may join Andrew Genosi, one of our students here who's doing the notes. And you can see behind me on the big board his notes, but we can actually go for the close-up, which Andrew will love. We won't go unless we tell you, okay? I have to prepare him. And so anything that you'd like to add for notes, he can put into the notes. That's saved as a PDF and made available to all the students after to do their assignment. So this is ultimately a class. We're going to learn together, and that's critical, those notes. Anyways, just want to let you know it's available. Notes. Go ahead.
Great. So I have the pleasure of the first question, everyone. Please tell us about your journey from Durham College to entrepreneurship and how your time at DC shaped your path and prepared you for the challenges of starting your own business.
Sure, I can head it off. So, yeah, I as I mentioned, after a long career in the tech world, I was doing the planes, trains, and automobiles circuit, and answering calls at all hours of the day. I got a chance to get out of that and follow a passion I had for growing food and for taking that food and making it into something else, pickles, for example. So I was kind of searching for about 6 months on what I could do next and how I could take that to the next level, and was just kind of scrolling on the internet and fell onto Durham College's food and farming program and read through it. It just fit the bill. You're learning how to grow everything and then take that and turn it into a product that's going to have more value. So creating value added products from something that you're creating yourself. So, with the backing of my family, I jumped on board and kind of landed into the program in 2021, I guess. Right away got into the student assisted learning program. So I got to work on the fields at the Whitby campus, in the greenhouse, We have, you know, a number of post-production facilities there, a leafy green machine, we call it, which is a hydroponic system. So learning how to grow in every way you can imagine. We learned how to grow food on that campus, and a lot of food in a very small space. So there's about 3/4 of an acre there only, but we're growing, you know, thousands and thousands of pounds of food there. And then being able to use the food laboratories and take that food from the field into the labs, and you know, change it into things like pickles or relishes or sauces or chocolate, things like that. We got to learn how to do all of those things. While in that program, we were approached by a company called Colliers, and they're a property management company, fairly large. They manage about 500 million square feet of properties across the country, and they had a location down near the Amazon distribution center at just around the corner from the Whitby campus, and asked us if we could do an urban garden there. And we're all kind of like, you know, urban garden, okay, yeah. And I was one of 3 students that were asked to help out and manage that garden through the summer. So I worked in that student assisted learning program through the summer. We kicked butt and did a great job, grew zucchinis and corn and tomatoes and all kinds of things, and did so well. They asked us, after we had finished that fall, asked us if we would take on 2 more properties the following year. And Durham College, not being in the business of growing the business, said, you know, we'll maybe see if a student would like to take that on. So I took that on as an entrepreneurial challenge, and actually went through our entrepreneur class that we have at Durham College, and did a business plan in that class, and approached Colliers and said I'd like to take it over, and they were happy to hand that off to me. So that's kind of where Urban Farm Solutions got started, was right in the program. So it was great that we were able to take it not only as just a student assisted learning program, but then for me to be able to run with that as a business right out of the school. And it was one of the major goals that I had going into the program, was being able to come out of it with a business, with an entrepreneurial idea, or at the very least, and also to make all kinds of contacts within the school, so that, you know, if I needed to come back and get help or get some marketing ideas, or you know, like breaks on insurance, and you need it when you're starting a business. Also a great source of brains and manpower here. You know, we've got I've got a great resource center for coming back and finding out who's the best and brightest coming out of the program, and being able to use their help to grow the business now. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell.
That's really cool. Does anyone else on the panel like to contribute their journey?
Is there a question? Zenon? Did someone want to say something? No?
So
Go ahead, Jeff. Zenon. Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, was this the question, journey from Durham College to entrepreneurship?
Yes.
Yeah, so fantastic. So, but you know, my journey was not really a straight line. It's, you know, I graduated in '98. So when I went to Durham College, it was nothing but farm fields around. But what I took at Durham was mechanical engineering, and that gave me the skills and the base from which to grow from. So when I left Durham, I was able to get a job in the US because of not only the education I got, but also the software that we were using at Durham. It was so practical. So when I hit the workforce, when I got my first job in California, I was really able to hit the ground running and contribute right away. So it gave me the confidence, you know. And from there, once I got to California, you know, I fell in love with surfing, and then I met my wife, and then together we realized we both had a passion for entrepreneurship. We wanted to start our own business. So from there, we started a coffee shop, and we got that up and running, built it up from nothing, and then ended up selling it. And then we started a real estate business, and we did that. And then we came up with this awesome concept, which was our company now called Surfer. And that combined our passion for water sports, right? We're surfers and spearfishing and we love boating and our passion for entrepreneurship. And we came up with this idea because there was a need in the market. And we realized that maybe we could pursue this need and create a business around it. So that's how we ended up developing our company Surfer, which is creating warming gear for water sportsmen and also supporting our military and special operations throughout the world. So we've been doing that for over 20 years, and then moved to Hawaii 5 years ago, and I resigned from my engineering role, and I now also own a mortgage company, so do that as well. But really, Durham College gave me not only the skills to hit the workforce and contribute right away, it gave me that confidence, and then there was always a bias towards action in the course that I took. And that's important in entrepreneurship, is acting on things right away, trying them. And so that's how I ended up going from Durham College to where I am now.
It's always really wonderful to hear about all the skills that people learn here at their time at DC and how they apply them to various different types of careers. So thank you both for sharing. Maybe we'll switch gears a little bit and kind of piggyback off of that. So what inspired the idea for your business? Maybe we'll start on this side.
Well, it's a little bit of, do I say the appropriate answer or do I say, the real answer? So for me, I did not get into, when I was at Durham College over 10 years ago, entrepreneurship was like, that's something that other people do. I'm going to go work in corporate and, work at big companies and get a job and stay there for 25 years. And then that's not how the world works anymore, right? So I worked in tech. I was an event planner during the pandemic, which was a very tiring time, a very confusing time. So for me, entrepreneurship was not really the goal. It was this little thing in the back of my mind that's, was just there. Maybe it was a little bit my husband who was in the back of my mind, and other people saying, you need to do this, you need to do this. And one more restructure of another organization I was at, and I was like, you know what? It's now or never, right? I'm going to take a chance on me because organizations have different priorities and they'll never put me as the number one priority. So entrepreneurship, I will say, chose me because it was a way to bet on myself that I knew that no other organization would.
Except for DC. Yes, exactly. Go ahead.
I really love that. And like how you ended it, like I feel very similar in that sense where I really just wanted to take charge and do something that was like I was the driver, I guess you could say. So after graduating from Durham, which is like almost 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about, I gained some real life experience in hospitality in the industry. So I worked at a few hotels. I loved my experience working through the Fairmont. So I worked at a few of their properties, and I really realized that it really clicked there. Like I was like, okay, like I really love what they do here and how they're so focused on making the customer feel, or the guest, sorry, feel really special. And that's kind of what I fell in love with. I love making people feel special. And I found, hey, let's think of a way to do that through another passion of mine, which is baking. So donuts. And Crave Donuts is more than just like making our donuts. It's really connecting with the community, making something that people really love, and just making them feel special when they come into our store, and giving them that sense of community is just so important to me. And Durham really, really inspired me to take the plunge when I came here. I learned so many like skills, like in terms of like running the business, obviously, but more so just really investing in myself and making sure I'm a good leader for my team and be able to operate the business that way. So it's kind of where I'm at right now.
Can I just add something to this? Because my students and I, my global leader students and I, prepared for this class last week, and we did some questions. So I'm going to just mention one or two of the questions to her, but we're going to be engaging with all all of you soon. Okay, so not to worry. But what came up was, I think 2 or 3 times, was what does the donut represent? And I think you've covered that, but I wondered if you wanted to speak to that even more. That what you do is represent something deep emotionally that you want to give to society, because that's what drives so much social innovation. So I'm wondering if you feel you've said that, or would you like to add anything more to that?
You're totally right. And people think of we created the donut business just to just to create donuts. There was a need in the market, and there definitely was. There's Tim Hortons and other places you can get donuts, but we wanted to create something unique. And through that, it's not just creating, like I said, the donut. It's
Yeah.
more in sense connecting with the person who's coming in to get the donut and making them feel like it was made just for them, kind of thing, for a very small
Right,
batch.
special. You're special.
Exactly,
Everyone's
yeah.
it's good. Okay, that's please, yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, so I created O Foods because of my own food allergies. I developed at 18. I was having a family movie night and my throat closed, and I ended up in the hospital. From there, I started to figure out, okay, what snacks could I have now that I had the peanut and tree nut allergy? And I started to make my own snacks. I started to sell them to yoga studios and smaller places. And then I really realized that there was a massive need where I needed to get to a certain scale to really build the business that could also pay me, and I wasn't having to go to work, let's say. And right out of school, I actually started this business. I stumbled upon the entrepreneurial classroom. It was actually in the other building at the time, and it was really small, and they were just getting started. And I said what my idea was, and they ended up helping me with my logo and our branding and helping us figure out what was next for the brand. And then I ended up taking that and then pitching it to retailers. So I knew that we had to get the scale that we wanted. Ended up launching with Walmart as one of our core customers, just knowing that that would give us pallets of orders instead of boxes. And then partnered with Costco once our customer base said that they would like bigger package sizes for us. And then earlier this year, for myself, I knew that I wanted to build a business that was going to reach $100 million, and knew that there was a bigger need in the market when it came to chocolate, and that if I could create a cocoa-free chocolate, that I could really tap into what that burning feeling inside of me of what I could create was, and that's how I started Chocolate. And we now are a team of 4 people. We have really great pilot partnerships with some large retailers and some really large brands coming up. And yeah, that's how I got started.
Awesome. Your stories are very inspirational. However, we know that the journey to entrepreneurship isn't always a smooth ride. So perhaps you could share some of the challenges that you encountered along the way.
I started out again. Okay. God, there's so many challenges as an entrepreneur, and you don't even it's the I guess glamour of it when you're thinking about it. You don't think of some of the obstacles that you're going to come across. Some of the biggest ones, I think, just starting is on the financial side. As boring as that is, it's a fact. So if you're a young student starting, just getting into classes, my advice would be get a credit card, pay it off right away, and then cut it up. Establish good credit. You're going to need it. In most cases, you'll need that capital to get rolling, and if you don't have it, then you better have some skills to go and talk to some people and see if you can beg, borrow, and steal to get things rolling. It goes back to having that faith in yourself, though. You really want to be able to have belief in what you're about to embark on, and know that you can do it, because you're going to need to be able to have that conviction to sell it to people. So that skills is pretty important. So I would say the financial side is a big obstacle. It's not an impossible obstacle, and it's one of many that you're going to run into and need to problem solve.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. The first thing is finances, making sure that you have that buttoned up. There's a book called Profit first. We use it within our business, and that's the only reason why we are profitable. If you are going off your bank statement and hoping that you can figure it out, you're not going to. And that profit first book really helps aligning your bank account to exactly what's in those accounts. So if you are paying a manufacturer, only money for that manufacturer is in there. If you're paying a team, like your team money is in there. And then the other part is like surrounding yourself around really great people. So for ourselves, when I knew that I wanted to go ahead and build Chocolate, which is a cocoa-free chocolate company, we really surrounded ourselves with advisors from the beginning. So advisors from Hershey's, Unilever, etc., that could actually make those introductions for us. And right off the bat, having those advisory board members allowed us to have our first pilots conversations with Hershey's. And without that, we wouldn't have been able to get that meeting right off the bat. We're only 8 months in with this business. So being able to have advisory board team members has been pivotal for us.
Please underline, circle, profit first.
Good.
Because that is definitely a must read for
Excellent.
an entrepreneur. But
Yeah, nice.
I would say also prioritizing and priorities. I think one of the biggest challenges for me starting out as an entrepreneur is, where do I put my energy, right? Is it going to networking events? Is it figuring out social? Is it spending more time on cold calling, right? And it's funny because I speak to my grandmother almost every day. And she like worked for the federal government for 50 years. Like, she does not understand how I just work for myself. She's like, that's just not what people do. But she's like, are you busy? And I kind of joke with her, like, I'm busy every single day, but she means, are you client busy? And it's like, some days I'm client busy, but when I'm not client busy, there's a whole laundry list of making sure that your accounting is set up and right, so that in December you're not crying over your desk, right? So I think figuring out where to put your energy and where to put your time, and obviously when you're first starting out and resources are limited, you're doing so much yourself, but understanding, okay, where is the point that I'm no longer doing myself good by actually doing this work, right? So whatever it is, like, is it social? Is it cold? Is it the account? Is it the bookkeeping, right? So what is it that I can start to outsource that will give me back so much more time to focus on the things that are going to move my business forward?
Can I just add too, for my students, particularly the global leaders students, that there might be something in what you just said around leadership that's really important when you have to figure out what you can't do. Because the tendency is, when you're leading, you're the one who has it all on his or her shoulders. And so you sweat the details, but then you don't want to micromanage. You don't want to get in people's faces. So then what do you do? Like, how do you let go? And, how do you, the team, right?
Well, I think, as an event planners are typically very good at wanting to hold on to control to everything, but realizing that it is a team. So I think, before I got into entrepreneurship, I worked in software and we sold into a lot of entrepreneurs. And I used to say to them, like, you didn't get into starting your landscaping business to deal with HR issues. So here's how you can outsource those things. And I think that it starts by asking for help and starting with the things that, okay, if this doesn't go right, is it the end of the world? And I had a great boss who was very good at knowing when she could let us fail, and knowing okay, you're going to fail at this. And, we would maybe disagree about something we're going to do at an event, and she would disagree, but she was like, you know what? This is not going to harm anyone. It's not going to destroy anything, right? So taking those little risks on things that are a little safer, because then you'll build that trust, and eventually if you don't start to trust people and trust your team and trust your resources, you'll learn the hard way that you're only harming yourself. And that'll be a hard lesson to learn, but you'll learn it eventually.
Is there any student at this point here, or anyone who wants to ask a question or say anything to the guests? Can you do me a favor? Could you Emmanuel, and also come up to the couch? come right into the circle, okay? So you can be close and I'll give you the microphone and then we'll come back, okay? You good with that? It's just finding the way to bring the students in, but not. So I'm going to give you the microphone. This is the best way. You can grab a seat there and we'll go from there, okay? Great. So just like karaoke, right? You know.
I don't know. I think I should. I'll stand. So my question is, I've been hearing all of you, beautiful stories, inspirational. But there's something that I've been listening to, and I've realized, and I'm someone also who is starting something back home. I'm originally from Rwanda, and I am starting something that connects people who are out of the country into the country, finding, easy access to homes and all these things to rent or maybe even to buy. Maybe because very many tourists don't want to come in and go to the hotel because maybe they don't have that budget. Then if we can find secure places, secure homes, we also collaborate with rental vehicle companies and all that stuff. Anyways, my question was, um, as all of you were speaking, IT, mechanical, and everyone, I realized that you started maybe when you were already like 10 years or 15 years in your careers. Do you wish you would have started earlier? Because this is something that I deal with, especially with my mom, because she is always like, really, like, is this what you want to do? Like, first do this, first do this. But I feel like there's no need to wait. Now, my question to you is, do you wish you'd have started earlier?
Zenon, do you want to take a stab at that one?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I think there's two sides of the coin to this one, and I think it's really important that you don't start if you're not ready. Don't start too early. It's important to do and enjoy, where you are in life, right? Your career is going to take you where it's going to take you, but I also look back and I wish that I had have done some things earlier than I did. But at the end of the day, it's just important to try and do as many things as you can. And one of the panelists said that failing is it's okay, right, in entrepreneurship to fail. And I think that's it's a great answer because the role as an employee is not to make mistakes, but the role as an entrepreneur is to make mistakes, find out what's working and what's not, and then pivot real as quick as you can. So to your question, do I wish I would have started early? I just it's just important to just do as much as possible to find out what it is that your passion is.
Paul, I think you wanted to chime in
Yeah,
on that.
I'd agree with the premise of that is you can't put a price on experience, right? So it's important to get out there and live life. Try new things, get out of your comfort zone. It sounds like you've got a fantastic idea though, and when you've got those, you'd kick yourself in the butt if you didn't give it a shot, right? And obviously for you to come up and stand in front of us and give us your elevator pitch right away, you've got it in you. So that courage and that leadership is almost a non-teachable to some extent. Sorry, but you've kind of got it or you don't. So when you sound like you're really believing in what you want to do. It sounds like you're passionate about it, and it sounds like you're a purpose-driven person because you're trying to do something to open up the doors to your country, and that's amazing. So if it were me sitting in your shoes, I'd go for it, right? And it may work, it may not, but this is part of that trying something and failing. And then, it may take 10 different ideas before you find something that succeeds. And that's the important part of it. So, I've done a lot of different jobs in my life and I don't regret any of them. Some were great, some were terrible, really terrible. And the experiences I got from all of them, you can't put a dollar value on. So, yeah, I wish I had have done things a little earlier. There's not a day that goes by that I don't wish that, I think. Yeah, but I again love my experiences too.
I think something that it's actually a really nice segue into one of our next questions. We've talked a lot about trying and failing and making those mistakes and how those mistakes turn into some of the most valuable lessons. So I'm wondering if anyone wants to share um, any mistake they made that they look back on and say, like, I'm really happy I made that mistake. That was one of the most valuable lessons.
Taking a client that I knew from the start I probably shouldn't have worked with. When you're first starting out, especially like I'm service based, right? So it's a little different if you have a product, but starting out as a solo person, you're like, oh my God, someone's going to pay me money. Like, I'll just do it. And as I'm in the planning process, I'm like, oh, this is not worth the money. This is not worth it. But I'm glad that I did it because it taught me what kind of clients I want to work with and what kind of clients I don't want to work with. And that is just as important. And again, when you're first starting out and don't have a lot of stability in your income, you feel like you need to take everything. But the more you learn what you're actually aligned to, the better you're going to be, because those clients that are taking and not either compensating you fairly or are just draining your energy and so you can't focus on anything else are going to cost you more in the long run than they would have if you had just said no from the beginning.
I have sorry, I was gonna actually go back to your question. I started in my early 20s, and I would say if you can start early, like I would, the opportunities I got handed to me because I was a young entrepreneur were not ones I was going to get in my later years. So I got paid for, like, for example, I got paid to actually work on my idea for a good 6 months, minimum wage, but regardless, it's a time for you to work on your idea and then build it up to wherever you want to go to. I got a bunch of grants that were handed to me because I was under 29 years old. So, and then also the amount of mentors that want to help people from 20 to 29. I mean, they still want to help you once you're older, but the amount of people who want to help you through that is it just opens up so many things for you. To like when you're now, like I'm in my 30s now, and I just turned 30 this year. And the things that have opened up for me because I did entrepreneurship in my 20s, I couldn't fathom. So I would say for you, like if you want to start, get started, but build out an actual plan. So have like a project board of what the next 3 months looks like for you. What do you actually need to complete? There's a book called The 12-Week Year. Um, there's a book called The 12-Week Year. We changed it. We do a 4-week year within our business. So that just means that every 4 weeks becomes a year for us, and we're executing on that and like basically closing out our year. And that helps you iterate a little bit faster and quicker to be able to see if this idea is viable, and then build your MVP, get it to market. Like you should be able to do this in 90 days. And then after that, it's like, okay, how do I monetize this? Does this make sense for me? And then if it doesn't, then scrap it and go do something else. Like, but this is the time to be scrappy. You have, unless you have kids or you're married, that is the only time that I would say, like, maybe think about other things other than yourself. But if you only have yourself, then think about yourself and like what you want to achieve. The things that you can achieve in your 20s right up until 30 are, I would say, take advantage of that time period in life.
We have another student with question. Are we good or keep going down the panel? Would you like to? I'm just looking for Sally. Are we good? Nicole?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
good.
gonna add
Thanks.
to the like just something, that I've maybe wanted to maybe like a mistake I guess I've made, and that's like probably not, building your team, but also making sure that you are not doing everything. I know we've already talked about that, but it's so important, especially in my industry. Like, like there's so many hats to wear and you can't wear them all. And when we first started out, I really learned that the hard way. Just like, I had to get the numbers down, food costing, building the team, everything. And now there's so many people that I lean on to help me with all of those things that pretty much do them and just run them by me. So I've really come a long way in that sense of not, can't be the control freak, even though I want to have my hand in everything. It's really important to not fail in that sense and making sure that you are, just relying on people that are going to be able to, follow your vision and really do what you are envision, like the way you want to go about things, and making sure you find people that can do that for you is really, really important.
And these can be real humans in flesh and blood, not just a bunch of co-pilots helping you. Although that's good too, but knowing when the human should come in, the indispensable, inescapable human. Okay, I just had to get that in. Okay, so please go ahead and let's continue.
Okay, so my name is David. So I have a couple of questions. First off, the book, The Profit First, is it by Michael Weiss? Okay, gotcha. So then the second question is, at each point in your business, when did you figure out that, oh, I need to scale? That is one. Then two, I think maybe this will be relating to Zeno because that's where my mindset is. You mentioned, you have these companies. I also want to have a group of companies, right? So I wanted to know, how were you able to manage those companies, one? And secondly, I heard you sold one, right? So at what point in that business do you know, oh, okay, I need to pull the plug? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you understand the question.
Yeah, so I think the question was how do you manage a company that's operating globally, and then also when do you know when to pull the plug? Was that the second part of the question? Okay, so I would say whenever you're building a business, one of the most important things is hiring the right people, and sometimes I don't think enough is spent at this stage, because once a hire is made, you're with that person, as long as you need to be. So if you make the wrong hire, it's so expensive because you spend the time maybe wasted with that person for a certain amount of time. So spend the time up front, look into how, best hiring practices, and make sure you hire the right person so you can depend on that person to do what you need them to do. We've always set up our businesses so that we could work remotely. And I think that's, it's not just, I think that's really important to be intentional about that. To be able to operate a business from wherever you are at any time, that's really, really invaluable. So I think that's important, when you're operating something that operates across different countries and continents. But just having the right people in place, and then knowing when an idea isn't working, I think that's a great question. It's a great question because sometimes we invest a lot of time and money and ideas into something, and we feel that because we've invested that time and money that we need to stick with that thing. And that's the wrong way to look at things. You always need to be able to pivot whenever something's not working. Right? Just because you've sunk an investment into something doesn't mean it's the right way to go. And going back to the previous questions and points, having a team of maybe advisors, not only advisors, but having a coach or a mentor that can help you through these different things, right? A mentor is somebody who's been through something and can give you the advice because they've been through it. But a coach is somebody that can hold you accountable to what you say you're going to do. Sometimes we know what we need to do, but we need someone to hold us accountable. So I think those are important resources to look for, coaches and mentors to help us along the way.
Is there anyone on the panel who want to add to that? No? We'll skip to the next one then. We've been talking a lot about the past, and I actually want to shift the lens and talk a little bit about the future. So how do you see your businesses evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? But most importantly, how do you continue to stay motivated and inspired to do what you do?
Um, so I guess I probably should have added this perspective. My business, Urban Farm Solutions, takes underutilized or open green spaces in commercial or public areas, and we grow food on them. And we take that food and we donate it to local food banks or community groups that need it. So we're trying to show everybody and actually prove out that you can grow food in a small space, like I mentioned before, and then affect the communities that you're growing it in. You know, I was lucky when I went through the program, not lucky per se, but it was kind of a coincidence that we were going through a pandemic, and there was a lot of stress on our food chain. And going through the food and farming program, you know, it couldn't have been more highlighted for us than through that event. That how important it is to take ownership of where our food comes from. So much of our food comes from different parts of the world, and it's flown in, and we found out during that event how fragile the food chain is. So it really kind of twigged for a lot of us that there's, you know, not only a need but an opportunity here to be able to find some of that, not just a solution for food insecurity or to save our food chain, but to become more food sovereign. And by food sovereign, I mean actually taking ownership over where your food comes from, how it's grown, what you're putting in your bodies. So when this business opportunity started, it really twigged and pulled on that purpose-driven part of me that wanted to not only have a business that worked, but that gave back. So a real more social enterprise. So I don't know. I guess what was the question again? Oh, right. Next 5 years. So yeah, that was it's not hard to stay motivated when you're purpose driven. You know, we've grown from when I started after that, I graduated with 3 sites. We're up to 10 sites now across the GTA. One of my favorite locations is at St. Clair and Yonge Street, just between St. Clair or between Yonge and Avenue at the Desjardins building there. So we've got 2 pretty large gardens there. And this year I was working at that site, and a class of Montessori students walks down at about 11 o'clock every day. So I found myself just gravitating to being there at that time because these kids were awesome. They were so excited and enthusiastic about this food that was growing in a garden that they'd never really seen grow before. They've had it on their dinner tables. They've seen it at the grocery store, but they didn't know where it came from. And that wonder in their eyes and amazement when they took a bean off a bean plant or a tomato and took that tomato off the tomato plant, that to me is what keeps it going, right? Community members coming in and congratulating you for growing something. We need more of this. We need more of this. And I hear that every day. So from a motivational standpoint, that gets me out of bed no problem in the morning. Where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? Probably still doing this. Hopefully it's grown a lot more. And you know, as much as I love being in the gardens, I see myself taking opportunities like this more often if I can, you know, find the right people, which I'm doing now, finding good people to be boots on the ground, and then taking the message out, right? So kind of maybe just phasing back out of the physical side of it because, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and your body does hurt after 12 hours, 7 days a week through the, but being able to really get the word out on how we can be more food sovereign.
For us at Chocolate, our goal is to really build a sustainable future for what chocolate looks like. And as a consumer, you guys might not know, but what's happening in chocolate has risen by over 500% in the last 2 years. And a chocolate bar that used to maybe be $3 is around $8. It's going to end up being $50 if there's not something that's solved in the next few years. And so we're really solving what comes next when that does come up. And so for us, we're really focused on that $100 million vision that we are building towards with a couple of our partnerships that we have in the works. So working with larger companies like Hershey's, Mondelez, Mars, et cetera, to really help them build what comes next after there's no more cocoa. And then really building our team and our innovation pipeline as well. So yeah, I would say that's what I have going on right now, and I think I'll continue to build. We have a really great team. We have great partnerships. We have a great ecosystem of people that we've been able to lean on to help us build Chocolate so far. And like I said, we're only 8 months in, and we have amazing pilots and prospects as well. So hopefully the next 5 to 10 years looks great for us.
We're okay to go students or here and then come back to student? Okay, and then we'll come to student over there. Yeah, good. Great.
Yeah, I think like Paul said, definitely the passion from, finding your purpose. So I know like working with aligned clients who really understand, like we're doing an event with a purpose. Like I'll always ask, like, why are we doing this event? Like before we do anything else. So I think for me, what excites me or what I see in like the next 5 to 10 years in events is that as much as things will change, it'll stay the same. So people love to connect in person. Like you all got out here, you got out from behind your Zoom for some of us. I know, but like 10 years ago, we wouldn't have had someone coming in from Hawaii to be able to participate in this panel, right? And the way that people are experiencing events are changing, right? So if you went to a conference 10 years ago, 5 years ago, right before lockdowns, now and then in 5 years, they're all going to look different because there's a shift in we're doing less content and more connection. Because we know that we can do the connection in different ways, right? So I think that that's what keeps me energized is it's not the same as last year. I often joke as soon as I'm still tearing down stuff from this year and they're like, so how are you going to beat this next year? I'm like, can I can I get home? Can I get on an airplane and then get home first? But I think that that's what's exciting is that I don't know what it's going to look like in 5 and 10 years, but I know that people are still going to want to meet in person. And so that's really exciting to see how can we make that better for them and how can we make it even more impactful for their organizations.
Zenon, did you want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, sure. So, from my standpoint, we're looking to continue to build Surfer and exit here within the next 5 years. But my newest venture, mortgages here in Hawaii. My goal is to build Hawaii's preeminent mortgage business. But it's all about staying passionate about what you do, right? And finding out what drives you. That's really important. Like for me, it's helping others and giving back. So I'm always trying to tie what it is I do in business with helping the community. And there's a lot of things I can do here locally, and I think volunteering is a big part of it too, right? So be passionate about what you do. Go into business with something that you really love, but also tie it into what else you enjoy doing, for instance, volunteering and helping the community.
And Nicole?
I mean, I was going to add that just staying motivated is just so important. Like for me, like when I started the business, I was very hands-on, like long days, you know how it is in the restaurant hospitality industry. But I've learned that, to step back and sort of like observe the last couple of years, grow my business. We have 2 locations. One, we started with like 700 square feet. My second location's 4,000 square feet. So we have a lot more space, a lot more space to build, of course. And for me, it's like never stop learning. So like I'm kind of at the point now where I'm hands off. Like I'm not really involved in the day-to-day operations as much. I pop in here and there just to make sure everything's afloat and things are going well. But for me, it's not pulling the plug per se on the business or selling it at this point, but just learning to take what I've learned from that business and creating a new one, perhaps that's like everything I've got from Crave and everything I've learned, which has been so valuable, and bringing that to this new business that we're sort of brainstorming about. So, yeah.
Questions?
just to keep it. Hopefully, we can return to this idea of vision, because I was going to say that you couldn't maintain the big vision you have unless you pulled back. You need that time, right? So, and we talked a lot about that in Global Leader, the idea of vision. Okay, go ahead, please.
Hello. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Alex, and the question I present to you is, how did you guys innovate in your business? Like, to be more specific, what sets your business apart from other competitors?
Let's start right here. Absolutely. Go ahead.
So with our chocolate technology, what we're really focused on were a few things. One, that it could go into traditional manufacturing and not need additional capex or additional machinery. The second thing was that it was going to use the recipe that wasn't going to be so outrageous where if you were as a consumer turned it on the back and thought to yourself like, well, what's this ingredient? What's that for? So simple ingredients, but then also making sure that it was that we could use science to really push it forward and also have some IP behind it. So that was really what we focused on. And then our competitors, what they focused on was building like really unique, novel facilities where they built their own chocolate, which is great. But then when you look at the global question of like, okay, well, who's solving cocoa for the next generation? If you are building out your own facility and then raising a lot of capital, that's a lot of capex that you're putting towards it. Whereas the capital that we're raising is not going towards putting in and building facilities. It's going to actually the growth of the business and not necessarily the machinery that we're building. So it's just really thinking through that. And then in terms of innovation pipeline, it was really thinking about what does our customer need and who is our customer. So for us, we started with chocolate chips. None of our competitors are able to actually crack chocolate chips and make them. They make more wafers that you melt down. And so for us, we use chocolate chips that we can go into cookies, muffins, bakery items, and really focus there because none of our competitors could. And then build out what that looks like for us. So if we are the number one company building out a bakery, now you have to use us, and then there's no one else to really use. And while the other guys are, all playing together in the melted chocolate, we're playing in a completely different field, and we don't have to worry. And then our competitors are also in the UK as well, so they're not coming to Canada or the US, and so we have really good. We're able to like go in there and not have to worry about anyone else right now. And go after it. So, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we have time for one more question, but we'll go here and then we'll come back. And just to keep in mind, we're starting to approach near the end. However, I want you all to know that the learning never stops, right? In the 24/7 classroom. So we have a great high def recording that will be available. So you can rewind, listen to it in the car, like a podcast. We have the notes. So there's all sorts of nuts and bolts, wonderful information that you've all given. And that has been protected for you all. Okay.
Thank you. So I think Brittany, it's great that she's coming at it from the product, side of it, but coming from the services side, and I think this still makes a difference in the product side, is it's you, right? So if you ever watch Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, and you ever see they're like, I just want to invest in the person, right? So be the person that people want to invest in, that they want to spend time with and they want to learn from and they want to buy from because they know, like, and trust you, right? So as much as your product needs to be great and your services need to be great, because personality can only get you so far, being like you are your differentiator, right? And no one is going to do it like you, no matter what it is that you're doing. And I think, like I said, when you see it on TV of they don't even really like the product on Dragon's Den or on Shark Tank, but they're like, I need to just be working with you. So I'm going to give you money and we're going to change everything about your product. But they know when they see like that spark and that je ne sais quoi about a person that they want to work with, that yes, again, you need to back it up with actually being able to do the things you say you do, but that's going to be your differentiator in all things in life.
go to another question.
Thank you. Come into the circle. I can do that. I can do that. I'm comfortable. All right. So my name's Sheldon, graduate of '01. It was like a long time ago. I want to talk about the two most fearful or opportunistic letters in the alphabet that are taking over AI. To piggyback on the question about technology, are you guys fearful about the challenges of AI, or have you been embracing? If you've been embracing AI in your businesses, how have you been doing that, or what's some of the AI that you have been embracing?
You'd be surprised that in a business that's service oriented and really hands in the ground, that you'd actually be able to take advantage of something like AI. But I found myself this year adding to the list of services that we provide. So not only we starting the gardens and opening them up and planting and growing and harvesting and delivering and all those things that we have in our suite of service products, but we added a tenant engagement piece this year. So starting in May, we would show people how the tenants from the buildings could come down and learn how to start their garden and what you do with mulch and compost and things like that. And I wanted to have a handout for it, just a double pager. And I sat there one night and I'm like, oh God, this is going to take me like 3 hours just to get the formatting done. And my son walked through and he's like, just use ChatGPT. And I went, okay, how do I do that? So he's like, what do you want to do? And I just started typing things in and said, I need a PDF format or a Word format. And within seconds, it's there, and saved me so much time, because I didn't want to spend 3 hours doing that when I needed to spend 3.5 hours working with QuickBooks and trying to get my accounting straightened out for the year and solidifying my funding going into 3 months, knowing that I'm not going to get a paycheck for 2, right? So taking advantage of AI changed the game on that. And then going through the rest of the season, it was great. I could just go back to that and print it out and boom, just like that.
Zenon, did you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, sure. So I love the saying that, AI is not going to necessarily replace your job, but somebody who knows how to use AI may replace your job, right? So we all need to embrace it. We've been using it in a number of different ways, from generating weekly reports, having ChatGPT send you updates weekly about some certain subject. But something that we've been using just recently, which I think is really a game changer, is, back in the day, Google would recommend, and still does, recommends businesses or people based on reviews or whatever kind of SEO you have out there. Now, with AI, you can work with AI, you can converse with it, and then there's this function where you can go in the top right of ChatGPT and hit the share button. And what that does, it's very similar to how Google used to work. You can share that conversation, which all of a sudden makes it indexable. And you can train AI that you're now the expert of whatever it is you're talking about. And then now increasingly more, it's almost 50-50. When someone does a search, they'll either use Google or AI or ChatGPT now. If they go to ChatGPT and it now knows that you're the expert, it's going to recommend you or your business based on that interaction you've had with it. So just a great tool that everybody needs to embrace.
I think so. I'm in events and most of them are in person. So I think that AI is pushing people to in-person events, because as much as things are the robots, they also are now craving human connection. And I think it's similar to when we came out of lockdowns. Everyone thought, oh, events are dead. We're just going to do everything on Zoom for the rest of our lives. You cannot get a venue in Toronto for the next year. Events are back in person. I like to say, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I think that AI is going to replace a lot of the jobs no one was doing anyways. And I'll give you an example. In events, getting people to come to the event, even though they've registered, is a headache, because people register, they forget, whatever. And we send emails with all this great information of where to park and what to wear and all these things. And people will inevitably say, where do I park? Where am I supposed to? And I'm like, it's in the know before you go. So I know a friend of mine is started an AI service that will call all your attendees before the event, and it will increase their engagement. It increases their likelihood of attending. But no one was doing that. Like, no one has time to call 1,000 attendees before an event, right? So the AI is doing those things that we weren't going to do, but are the nice to haves. And I think also we're starting to see, like, if you've been at a conference in the last year, everybody's talking about it. I think we're also starting to see that it's not the magic wand, right? So I think people are figuring out what it works really, really well for and the things that it really doesn't work well for. And we're like, a year ago, it was everything is going to be AI. And it's like, well, a lot of things are going to be AI, and a lot of things are going to be used. Like, I use AI to I have a podcast. I use it to like start off my show notes and like do things like that and give me pull quotes and things like that. So I think we're seeing where its limitations are, and maybe in 10 years it'll be completely different, but it's not the magic wand, right? The people are still behind like most of it. And if you've seen it fail, like, you know that it fails pretty spectacularly sometimes, right? So I think it's like cautious optimism, and it's not going to solve every single problem. It's going to make some things easier, and it's going to cause other problems. And so, cautious optimism when we're using it.
I'm going to call up Pat now from our sponsor, ChlorVision, to help wrap us up. I'm going to put you on the spot there. But I think no better person to help wrap us up.
Right on. A little bit on the spot. Thanks, Sally. Ariel. Thanks for the great insights that you've left. There's a couple things I took notes on. One specific one was on starting too early or starting too late. I'm not sure who asked that question. You asked it. So I'd say go ahead and start if you want, but who was it who said map it out? Everybody said map it out. Don't just map out your business, map out what you want in life, because starting a business becomes your life. So I look back, I started my business 3 years out of school. I graduated in 2002, and I went to CTV for a few years, did on-air graphics, didn't want to do the corporate thing, started ChlorVision then. I look back at that time, not wishing I'd started earlier, wishing I'd started way later. Wishing I had had more of my life to me first, because I look at the things I missed out on, and it had nothing to do with business. It had to do with interacting with my community, volunteering, building good savings. Like, all of my money went back into my business, and I'm finally now in a spot where that has been built up, but I'm going to be 46. So, 20 years gone, all dedicated to building the business. So depending on what you're building, absolutely start, but just understand where you're going to be in life. Conversations around funding and funding. If you're looking to raise capital from like an angel community, I started an angel community a couple of years ago with a couple of co-founders. It's Angel Investors Durham. It's one of the partners in the Entrepreneurship Toolkit. Investors will invest in the jockey, not the horse, most of the time. So you have to be a really powerful entrepreneur if you're going to generate revenue from an angel investment. But your business idea has to be scalable too if you're going to go for angel capital. And early capital requires, a lot of risk from the angel community and yourself, friends and family, et cetera. So if you need to raise money, think about how you are going to utilize that money and pay those people back. That's the number one thing they're going to ask for. I think entrepreneurship is wonderful. It gives everybody a real opportunity to build something, contribute to the community, do something really impactful. It's not for everybody, and that's okay as well. If a career path has you as an entrepreneur, you can think entrepreneurially, but work with a corporation and help them make changes from within. It's just as good. In a program like this, I think it's wonderful because you're being trained to think differently, to challenge norms, and to take risks. And that's the number one thing that entrepreneurship means. It's risk taking. It's challenging, but it's super rewarding. So thank you for being amazing entrepreneurs. Thanks, Ariel.
Thanks, Scott. And let's give a big round of applause to all of our incredible panelists because
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just sort of switch over to Andrew so you can finally see. I did it once, but I didn't want to interrupt too much. But watch, everybody online should see this. The camera's going to move fast over there, and he deserves a hand for the notes he's been taking and working really hard. We're going to have a good PDF available. Could you write one word in big, like really big? Scrappy. I want to just speak to this for 30 seconds or so, and then we're going to conclude. Let me bring the camera back here. There was a word some time ago that was making the rounds in the academic world called grit. And a lot of us in the classroom would talk about this. I would say we should now replace it with scrappy because it has more meaning to it. And I love, I think it was you who mentioned it comes from Profit First, or who knows, I'm not sure where it comes from. It came from one of these minds, one of the books, but the idea that you scrap something, you're prepared to pivot, you're prepared to start again. Scrappy is also grit, you know, you go into the corners, like, you know, you're little guy, but you'll take on the big guys if you have to. You're scrappy. You've got all of these meanings to it. And so I hope it's okay for me to conclude by saying that you all have variations of scrappiness that is so inspiring for everybody here. And I would like to conclude this by first thanking the hosts, the co-hosts here for leading the questions so well, for our president to come, and she's extremely busy, and you always stay right to the end. You know, it's great, you know, to have you. Is there anything you want to add at this point? You want, please give her the microphone.
No,
Go ahead.
Just thank you for their time and for being here to share with our current students and other alumni, and realizing that DC did help launch your careers. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zanin, now that I know you're in the surfing business, or you were, I'm definitely going to take you up on my suggestion to you earlier that I want to come to Hawaii and walk a beach with you at 5:30 in the morning while the sun's coming up, and get on the surfboard and disappear for a while. And finally, I'd like to thank a wonderful colleague who will never take the spotlight, but deserves so much of it. And that's Sally Hillis in the corner, who, you know, has put this, we've been doing this for several years now, and Heather Bowman, who's joined her, she is just absolutely first class, world class partner. So we are concluding DC Talks from the Global Classroom, the Rotary Global Classroom at Durham College in Oshawa, Canada. Thank you all. Lots of resources still available, and hope to see you soon in the next event that Sally will brilliantly pull off as always. Take care, everybody. See you.
we do have 10 minutes to
Okay.
mingle and network. So come up and introduce yourselves and say hello.
I'm going to mute the microphones here so people will see on YouTube, but they won't hear, okay? They'll just see everybody. Okay, yeah.